it's Mari, and I'm going to be working on a 12 by 12 process today. And I'm just showing you here the sketch that I used for this layout, and I'm just going to maximize it here on my iPad a little bit. I actually pinned this off Pinterest, and it's from the Basic Gray blog, and it was created or used by, I'm not sure which, Melanie Bauer, and it just shows you there, gives credit to that sketch that I used for this layout. So I don't often use a sketch for my layouts, but sometimes I do, and I actually really like doing that because it gives you some inspiration. So this is just a process of starting your layout using a sketch. So I'm going to be using some stencils and some mixed media on this layout. Haven't done that for a little while, so it's good to get back to the messy stuff. So you can see there, I'm just showing you that Avriel ink pad called Daisy. That's a colored Daisy that came in one of our recent hip kits. So I'm going to be using a couple of Dylusion stencils for this texture paste that I've mixed up with the ink. And I've gone with stencils that are circles because there's kind of a circular theme, as you probably noticed in that stencil, or I'm sorry, in that sketch. So I'm going to start with that little bubbles or small circles or something like that, Dylusion stencil, and I'm just going to put down a little bit of that yellow texture paste here and there. So I just put that, put that paper banner on there just to kind of see where I was going to put that, and then arrange the texture paste around the layout a little bit. So I have primed this white cardstock with some clear gesso, and I wasn't sure what mixed media I was going to use. I knew I wanted to use some, but I just ended up gessoing the entire page. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some of this texture paste down in different spots around where I know that I'm going to be putting that photo mat with the layers kind of over to the left side of the layout a little bit. Not exactly in the center, but just over a little wee bit. So this is some Stampin' Up! Ink Calypso Coral, and the color scheme in the layout is teal or aqua. I never know what to call that color. And kind of an orange and some yellow. And in the picture that I'm going to be using here, you can see that my daughter's life jacket definitely has some of those colors in it, and I just thought that would be nice for the color scheme to kind of go with the picture a little bit. So I'm just drying that texture paste a bit. I used the golden modeling paste here today, and I don't mind that modeling paste, but it doesn't dry as quickly. It doesn't set up quite as quickly as the Rainshare texture paste, I find. So anyways, I'm going to have to take a little bit of time here to spend drying it. So that circle texture at the top there, it doesn't turn out very well. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to cover it up with a piece of circular paper there. So this is some more Stampin' Up. This is Bermuda Bay ink, and I'm going to use this just to use the packaging technique on the layout, just to create a little bit of color in the background. And I end up covering some of it up for sure, but the nice thing about putting it down just sort of in random places is that it's going to show up somewhere, and it's nice that it just kind of is peeking out in some of the different areas. So just putting it down like that covers all your bases, and you know that it's going to pop out here and there. Put way too much of this ink down. I only use a little wee bit of it, and I'm just going to use it just to put some splatters in that Calypso Coral onto that background. So just creating a background right now for the layout using some different mixed media. And I'm just going to clean that brush a little bit there, and I'm going to start layering up the different pattern papers onto the layout for the photo mat there. So it was really fun to use the circle theme here, and all of the circles that I use in the pattern paper I cut with my Silhouette, which is so super easy. If you have a Silhouette, it's just a really, really fast and quick way to cut a range of sizes of circles if you're going to be using circular patterns on your layout. So this is some of that Summer Vibes paper by Simple Stories, just such pretty paper. And I just fishtailed it at each end of that vertical piece of paper, and as was done on that sketch. And those are the circles that I was mentioning that I had cut out. And I used just a variety of pattern paper from my hip kits, some from Fancy Pants Summer Sun Collection. There's some poolside paper there, and I think that's basically about all of the paper that's represented here. And I end up using some jelly bean soup here in a bit too for the back for the frame. So you can see I'm just playing around with a variety of those sizes, just trying to get them layered there so that they kind of are in the right proportion, I guess. And they're just going to pop out as, like I said, behind that photo layer. And that's just that polka dot paper on the left there is just the reverse side of that Summer Vibes paper by Simple Stories. So, and I'm also going to create a little cluster over to the right, which follows the pattern of the sketch. And once again, those are just circles that I cut out. The one circle was cut out with a scallop punch from my stash. And I'm just going to, now I'm going to take and I'm going to edge the different papers with some of that Bermuda Bay ink. And the reason why I'm going to do that is just to give some definition to the edges of those papers so that they pop up off the layout a little bit. Just defines the edges so that they're more noticeable on the layout. So I'm still fighting this darn cold. I've had bronchitis for a bit, and I thought I would be making way more videos and more layouts while I was on summer holidays than I have, but darn it, I've been sick, so that's kind of been a little bit disappointing. But I'm definitely on the mend, so I'll have this video up today, and then I'll have a video up on the Crafty Maven Getaway tomorrow, and then I'll be doing the Spotlight Sunday on the Crafty Maven Getaway this coming Sunday as well. So I'll hopefully make up for lost time there. Then I'm away on vacation for a little bit, and then I'll be back to do some more videos in the middle of August. So I'm just sticking that banner down and starting to develop the photo mat. Now what you'll see is I'm going to put things down where you saw me place them before. But what I end up finding as I'm creating these layers is it looks too plain to me. So you'll see me add some black and white polka dot paper here, which is from Jelly Bean Soup. And you'll see that happen in a little bit here. So I'm just laying down that photo with some foam tape. It doesn't look horrible like this. It doesn't look, too bad, but I just felt like it needed a little bit of pop. And you'll see what I mean when I add that other black and white polka dot paper to the layout in a little bit here. So once again, I'm just taking those papers and I'm adding them in those circles. And what I did when I had them laid down there earlier was I just took a quick little picture with my iPad, and I have that sitting in front of me on my desk so that I can see where I had those placed. And I'm just going to use that liquid glue because the gesso and the texture paste and the other mixed media on the paper makes it so that it's a little bit difficult for, like your ATG tape, runner, that kind of adhesive, makes it a little more difficult for that to stick. So the nice thing about the Scotch liquid glue is that it will stick to those different medium that you've used for that background. So now I'm just using some adhesive here to stick that down. I'm just going to flip that over and trim it off. And there's a nice little cluster there to add some interest to that edge, which was created on that sketch. So here I am. You can see that I've added that black and white polka dot paper and some tissue paper behind my photograph. And I've also added the border of the black and white polka dot. And it just really, I think it just finishes it off so much more nicely. And I'm just going to take some of the Dylusions black paint and I'm just going to dilute it a little bit. You'll just see me. I'm going to add a little bit of plastic over top of that, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a test here because I haven't splattered with this paint before, and although it's fluid, it's needs some watering down to be fluid enough to splatter. So I'm just adding a little bit of water to it, and then I'm just going to tap it onto the layout. And I don't add, any really big splatters like large splatters. They're just some fine little black splatters there, just because I added that black paper. So I wanted to just bring that black into the layout a little bit so that it, looks like it fits a little bit better. And then you'll see that the thickers that I add in the title are also black, just to bring that black into the entire layout. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that Scotch adhesive glue to the back of that photo mat and stick that down. Excuse me. Or actually, I think I just used tape runner on that. I used the liquid glue on the tissue paper to stick that down to the black and white paper. So I'm just going to dry this up a little bit, just make sure that there's nothing wet before I start adding the last little bits and pieces to the layout. So there's that photo. It's a summary photo of my daughter when she was, I'm going to guess maybe 6 or 7. And when our kids were little, we typically would go to Little Bear Lake, which is in northern Saskatchewan. We would take them up there, lots and lots of fun times. And this just is capturing a memory of one of our days in the boat and swimming and tubing and doing all kinds of fun stuff. So these are just some poolside ephemera pieces that I'm adding. And that's an Evolicious wood veneer that I've inked up with the Calypso Coral Stampin' Up! Ink. Pardon me, sorry for my crazy voice here today. And I'm just going to add some liquid glue to that and get that stuck down. And then I think I'm just going to, perhaps this is where I do some journaling off camera, and I add a little acetate ephemera piece from the Poolside collection to the bottom, and you'll just see a little break here and the finishing touches that I added to the layout. So once again, it's really nice to use a sketch when you're creating a layout, because it just gives you that opportunity to be inspired, and oftentimes you'll probably find that you adjust it a little bit for your own liking, and you maybe add or subtract some things that are more in tune with what you like. But really, I followed the sketch pretty closely, and I really like how it turned out. So now I'm just going to show you here how I added the title there, and it says Little Bear Big Fun. And the little bear is the Amy Tangerine Alex stickers, and then those smaller ones are from October Afternoon. And I journaled there, and I added that little acetate ephemera piece over top because you can see through it, so that's okay. So I had so much fun creating this today, and I'm just showing you here how I just added a few little staples there just for some extra texture. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to leave me a comment and subscribe if you liked the video. Thanks so much. See you next time. Bye.